we had a user who came back to us and said, within 10 minutes, I felt happy. And she like questioned, she was like, I don't know how to explain that. And that's just that balancing of the autonomic nervous system. Because when you're balanced, when your toes are balanced, your body will feel good. And I think so many women during their period are like, oh, I forgot what it felt like to feel.
It is wild, but it's so true. You don't even realize. And when you start even attempting to go on the healing journey inside yourself, I didn't even know that I could have this much energy. I didn't even know it was an option on the menu. That's like, until you experience it. And then you're like, oh shit, how did I even function with being shitty, being my normal? Like, because it's just part of being a woman.
That's right. And so that's part of what we're on a journey of, is educating women that what they're experiencing doesn't have to be that way. Even with my best girlfriend, they're like, oh, I mean, my period's not that bad. I cramp, but like, I mean, it's for like a day. I'm like, but wouldn't it be nice not to cramp at all? Why are we accepting that cramping is a normal part of being a woman? And I say this a lot. If men bled from their penises, we'd already have a cure. Right? We would already, or they'd have paid leave every time they menstruated.
Holiday.
Yeah. I mean, like truly. And so, but for women, we've been told for so long, this is a part of the experience. And we've convinced ourselves that we deserve less than feeling great. And I think part of our mission at OhmBody is these types of conversations of like, no. You deserve to feel great. Even through menstruation, you deserve to feel better. Again, we have how many drugs for ED immediately but we, you know what I mean? But the best we can do for women with endometriosis is surgery. Why is that the option? And we're not a niche market. Half the world's population is not niche, guys. So we got to have this conversation, be willing to come to the forefront and say enough is enough. And how do we get better?
It's a bloody good conversation today with zero period pain, as I am chatting with Amy Gaston of OhmBody, a company turning pain into power using bioelectric medicine. So if you've ever gone to the emergency room begging to be prescribed Loratab or Oxycodone, or if you've ever gone painkiller drug dealer shopping just to not have pain on your period, this episode is for you. OhmBody's technology helps the body remember what safety feels like, using gentle neurostimulation to calm the nervous system and reconnect you to your own rhythm. It's not about numbing pain. It's about retraining your body to trust itself again. In this conversation, we're going deep into opioids, trauma, blood loss, and the nervous system, and what happens when we stop overriding our biology and we actually start listening to it. Amy Gaston drives strategic growth and brand visibility at OhmBody, leading partnerships, advocacy, and public relations while serving as the company's public face. A proven entrepreneur and former director of experiential marketing at Magnolia, she brings extensive experience in building businesses, revitalizing event strategies post-COVID, and developing marketing campaigns that elevate brand engagement across sectors. Outside of work, she fuels her competitive spirit on the tennis court, supports her community as a nonprofit board member, and explores the world with her husband. October's probably my favorite month.
I love that.
Yeah.
So
I relate it to luteal phase, which is my favorite phase. Well, it wasn't before I did a lot of healing, but known as the bitch phase. But I just really, it's the getting shit done, shit done phase, which some people say, oh, she's getting shit done. Oh, she's a bitch. That's another story.
I had a very similar experience to that. Right? So as an Enneagram 8, a firstborn daughter, highly driven, highly focused. Yeah, I get a lot of kind of bitchy. I'm like, I just get shit done. I'm a fast walker. I'm very focused when I go. For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, there's a way to get shit done and assert yourself and boundaries without being an asshole. And I think people now, when you're okay with being disliked, they're afraid of that. And that is what adds to this fear of luteal phase boundaries.
It's a little intimidating for sure. I try to live by firm but kind.
Exactly.
Firm but
kind.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is so freaking appropriate that we are chatting today. It's a bloody good day to chat because it's the first day of my cycle.
Okay, great. Yeah, for sure. We have to get you an OhmBody.
I cannot wait
Yeah.
to try that
Yeah.
and to experience this, because it's so incredible. Not only the origins of OhmBody, because I'm from the era where you had to beg the doctor or go to the emergency room just to get any kind of pain relief that even touched the period pain, like emergency room level. And then you get the Oxycodone, then you get the Loratab or whatever, which of course we all know has other effects on your body. But because of the abuse and the whole world around that, you're locked in. You can't be prescribed that, really, at least anymore. At least I couldn't get it. So it really just took me dying, going to the emergency room, and
having to convince another ER doctor that you weren't making it up or drug hunting, right? That you weren't trying that you weren't trying to pill chase. And I think for us, it's really one of those moments where we hear stories like that and we know when our device has the ability to do, and it just is that more focused to ensure everyone knows about what we're doing.
Yes, it is so needed. And that's really where I'd like to start. We talk about facing our shit, as you know. So what was that face your shit kind of moment for OhmBody? I know we chatted a little bit about it with the origin, Spark Biomedical, using neurostimulation to help people with that opioid withdrawal. Can you share a little bit about how that journey led to the creation of OhmBody?
Yeah, for sure. One, thanks for having me, Mary. This is a conversation I've been very excited to have since we met previously. And Spark Biomedical, to your point, we have an FDA-cleared device in opioid withdrawal management to help individuals. When you're withdrawing from opioids, you're in a hyper fight or flight state. Our neurostimulator allows people to balance their autonomic nervous system so that they can withdraw in a more relaxed state. So they're not actually physically fighting themselves in the withdrawal. So that work began in 2018, but also backed by years and years of research by our chief science officer and our chief technical officer, each individually. One was doing work in vagus nerve stimulation. One was doing work in trigeminal nerve stimulation. And they were like, hey, if we put these together, what kind of effects could we have? So out of that was born Biomedical and Sparrow, which is our other side of the house in terms of stress management and that withdrawal. Then they began to see some interesting things happening to platelets. And so they went and licensed out from the Feinstein Institute 20 years of research in the neural tourniquet and this idea of regulating blood loss and platelet patterns and different things. So we licensed that technology and applied it to our tech in the case of traumatic blood loss and traumatic bleeding, whether through surgical trauma or from injury trauma. And then obviously bleeding disorders, right? Because people with bleeding disorders bleed a significant amount. But as you can imagine, and that center has called by leaders, and our research arm in that space. And they're doing a lot of really interesting work with the DOD and some hospitals, obviously trauma centers, but testing that and taking the work that was done on animals. So that 20 years of research with the Feinsteins to animal work. And so translating that to humans is challenging, right? Because you don't want to create a traumatic injury to a person in order to test them. That's unethical. Right. You'd never be able to do that. The IRB would never be for that. And with bleeding disorders, the same way, right? While people who have bleeding disorders do bleed often, you don't want to cause that in order to then test it out. There's So they were at a hematologist conference, and a female hematologist actually approached them and said, where would be an interesting place to study this is women, because women bleed every month. And those with bleeding disorders bleed significantly. So they were like, oh, that's interesting, because they're not causing the blood loss. That blood loss is happening naturally. And so that's where our pilots came from. 16 women, half with Willebrand disease, which is a bleeding disorder where women can lose up to a liter of blood every time they have a sulk, which is a quarter of their blood. Women have 4 to 4.5 liters of blood in our body. Men have 5 plus. And just the idea of the health implications of that alone, right? And losing a load of your blood. So that half, and the other half were women who had idiopathic heavy menstrual bleeding, meaning no known cause for why they have heavy menstrual bleeding. Maybe they have some system things that happen, but they haven't been diagnosed with it. So just taking these two groups of women that we know on the PVAC score bleed significantly and significantly over the baseline of 150. Some of these women are bleeding in the 2000s, right? So we took that and we began to see some really interesting results from that In fact, we saw on average amongst those 16 people were on average a 55% reduction in the amount of blood loss during menstruation and a 20% reduction in the number of days women were on their cycle. And so we get some questions around, oh, it's only 16 women, but the outside effects, blood loss reduction. Some of those women in Meredith saw up to a 70% reduction in their blood loss during using our device just in one cycle. And these women are wearing it 2 hours every day they bled. That's it. Just 2 hours every day they bled. And again, some of them seeing up to a 70% reduction. And so if you think about these women who are losing a liter of blood every time they menstruate or up to a liter of blood, reducing that by 70% is life-changing. And then reducing the number of days they're on their period by 20%. Some of these women are waiting 10, 12, 15 days as opposed to a normal 7-day cycle. And so what we were able to see is, oh, this is huge. This is a big deal. Then on the flip side of that was all the other pieces that come with menstruation, right? It's not just about blood loss, but it's about period cramping, gastric upset, anxiety, sleeplessness, mood swings, cravings. All of these pieces, 16 of those participants also saw at least some percentage of reduction across those categories. And so when you think about what was the origin of OhmBody, we went from having a device that we thought, okay, here's an interesting place to test if we have the effects on blood loss that we think we do, or the reduction in blood loss, to our 3 founders looking at each other and going, oh no, we have a menstrual wellness product. We don't just have a blood reduction management product. We have a true holistic, whole body menstrual wellness product. And so, OhmBody was born at the end of 2024. So the end of last year, we launched our brand in January and launched our product in July. So very quick, because we were like, let's get as many women some help as we can, right? And so we're on the market as a wellness device with pivotal studies coming down the pipeline in 2026 that will help us go after some FDA clearance for heavy menstrual bleeding specifically. And then there's entire sort of charted forward addresses PCOS or hemorrhage DD. Like there's a lot of work being done in those spaces to continue after those indications as well. That was a very long-winded answer to your question, Meredith.
I love it. It's so fascinating and so freaking necessary. This is the invisible issue, hell, you could call it, that we're here because of. And no one, it's completely unacknowledged the amount of shit. And this is a whole other, there's so many spin-off episodes we could do from this.
Yeah.
But there's so many reasons why it has become a hell in modern lifestyle, but it's just not talked about. So just even the acknowledgement of this happens and acknowledging like, this is how we get here. This is what women's bodies need, and not having it viewed as some kind of burden or some kind of like shameful thing, but actually something we can approach with creative innovation, with technology, without something that's going to throw off your entire body, or you're going to have to sacrifice something else like this
in order to. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. And you're saying that for us, it's what I love about OhmBody is that our founders, we have 3 male founders, and they're phenomenal and all have daughters and are really focused in on like, how do we make it better for women? You know, they're all married, whatever. But they could have very easily said, okay, Spark Biomedical is releasing a menstrual wellness device, and just left it at that. But what they realized was like, oh no, there's an entire world of destigmatization that has to happen in order for a product like this to move their needle. Women have to be comfortable talking about it. They have to even understand that what they're experiencing, while common in their family, is not normal. Lots of women don't even know they're having menstrual bleeding. They don't even know that what they're experiencing is more pain than their body should be. Because for millennia, women have been told to suck it up and deal with it. This is our curse and this is what we're doing. And so for us, it's very important for us to help women feel like they can acknowledge like, oh shit, this actually is painful. And if I could make myself 40% better in my cramping and reduce that by 40%, why would I do that? Because now I can go about my life and I can go to my kid's soccer game. I can sit on an airplane and not worry about bleeding through my shorts. I can, whatever that is, fill in the blank there. We no longer have to moderate our lives for our periods. And that's really why OhmBody exists, right? Our tagline is because life doesn't stop when you start. And truly it's about saying no longer should we have to accept our menstrual cycles, whether it's 5 days or 15 days. No longer is that going to dictate what I can and can't do in my day, because who the hell has time for that? I do not. You do. And most women on planet Earth do not have time for that. And yet the only things we've been given to this point are heating pads, pharmaceuticals, or invasive surgery. And that's just unacceptable.
It is, especially considering that we all, again, exist because of one. And I remember at the office being, going in with my heating pad, and I'm like, why am I, my hot water bottle, why am I embarrassed? Why? Because every single person sitting here in this office came from someone with a period. Why do I need to be embarrassed to say, and of course life doesn't stop when you start, but you know what? There's a lot of power also in saying, I need to take a break.
Sure,
My menstrual cycle. Yeah. It's like our brains are primed specifically during the bleed. The right side and the left side of the brain are primed they're more communicative. So they're primed to receive intuitive messages, like that psychic kind of, this is what I need to let go of. This is what I need to keep for this phase. And that's just something that I think a lot of people skip over. But if you actually start listening to your body and actually honoring your needs, and you have something like OhmBody, or you have a support system, because a lot of times when you're in so much pain, you can't even begin to listen because you're in survival mode.
That's right.
You can just get that little bit, and it's both things working simultaneously. That's okay. I can do a little bit here, and I can also listen to what I actually need to address the root cause of this, or address what's going on. This day is coming. This day, we're right here on the precipice where women are no longer embarrassed.
Yeah.
They're no longer embarrassed because they can
why
find their own
should we
body.
be? Why should we be? Yeah. I really think, and I think that generation under us, or maybe 2 generations, my niece is 13, so I think she's like 2 generations under me because I'm 40. But they are in the state, which I'm so proud of. She's been carrying a period pack in her backpack since she was 10. And she has helped 2 to 3 of her girlfriends standing outside the bathroom at school to be like, okay, you're going to take the lining off the back of that thing and you're going to stick it to I have an extra pair of panties for you. And they're just so open about it. And I'm like, God, I'm so proud that she is this young woman who's and now she's started and she's like, oh my God, it just shows up. I'm like, I know. She's just so open about talking about it. And I want for my own generation and us elder millennials to be like, why have we been hiding away from this for so long? Yeah. Every one of us bleeds. To your point, every person, man or woman, came from someone who bleeds. And this is such a natural part of what we do. And because I think when we continue to bring it to light, when we continue to take away the shame of talking, that's when real innovation and real solutions happen. Yeah. That's when we can say, oh, that's how much you bleed? Oh my gosh, I bleed way more than that. I wonder if I should talk to my gynecologist about that. Like, it begins to, when you tear down the walls, it begins to open conversations for discovery and understanding. But we've been hiding it away for so long, which is why we have these gaps in knowledge.
Totally.
And that's it's just not in gaps in innovation and gaps in investment, because we just don't even know that there's a problem. Because for so long, nobody talked about it.
Yeah. And that's the antidote to the fear is education, is learning about it. That's the antidote to the pain, to all of it, is to actually understand this. That takes away so much of the trauma. Speaking from personal experience, which I'd love to hear how that process actually works for OhmBody, where I'm certainly not a neuroscientist. Stimulating the trigeminal nerve and vagus nerve for 0 side effects and pain relief. Tell us a little bit more about how that actually occurs when people are first using OhmBody. So if you need a visual break, I want to talk about today's sponsors. Oh, by the way, it's me. I'm going to tell you a little bit about why I created this show. I created this show because I have lived it. I faced my shit and healed myself by unraveling all of the medical and pharmaceutical lies I had been told about my endometriosis, and was able to heal myself after 17 years of debilitating pain. My experience inspired me to literally live my art. So not only did I create this podcast you're listening to right now, I first created an ongoing art series about it called Every Phase. All of the artwork you see in my clips and within this episode is from my Every Phase series, which will span for 13 years. The pieces illustrate how I healed myself as I live by the phases of the female hormonal cycle. So the artwork shows what's happening in the brain and the body during each phase and reveals how to biohack and leverage this energy in your life. This month's featured piece isn't out yet, but it is the crossroads between ovulatory and the luteal phase, better known as the bitch phase. Also the transition from Leo's golden confidence into Virgo's refining eye, and now the gentle balance of Libra. I created this work using Musou Black Paint, one of the blackest blacks on Earth, absorbing over 99.4% of visible light. A visual of what it feels like to be in the crossroads of one life that has died, but the other hasn't really started yet. This piece was inspired by a season of grief, not for what happened, but for what never did, for the things left unacknowledged, unreconciled. It's for anyone who's held on to pain just to prove it was real. And in that same spirit, this episode with OhmBody dives into how we face and transmute pain through the body so we can listen to our greatest teacher. The answers are all in the shadow. The sunlight is my paintbrush. Darkness is my developer. And this piece, this is your piece. It hasn't been released yet, so if it speaks to you, message me directly to collect it before it goes live.
So OhmBody is really cool because through our neurostimulation, we actually do two things. So on the pain management side and the cramping side, and all the other pieces that come with that, what we're able to do is by stimulating the trigeminal and vagus nerve. So your trigeminal nerve is associated with pain management, how your body regulates pain. Your vagus nerve is the only cranial nerve that leaves your brain, touches all these major organs in your body, and then signals back up to your brain. She's like the powerhouse nerve, truly. She's a beast. And everyone's talking about optimizing her and all of that. Yeah. So for us, in our technology and our patented tech, we actually are able to send a really special frequency blend between your trigeminal and vagus nerves, where we are able to actually balance your autonomic nervous system. So one of the reasons you feel like crap on your periods, in addition to lots of other things, but one of the main reasons is that your body is actually out of sync. Your sympathetic tones, which are your fight or flight tones, are in overdrive. And essentially what it means is your body's in survival mode. We don't talk about this a lot this way, but when you're bleeding from your uterus, your body is experiencing a trauma. And again, we don't think about it that way because menstruation happens every month. But we say this a lot. For a lot of heavy menstrual bleeders, if they were to bleed as much as they do from their uterus, from any other part of their body, they'd be in the hospital receiving treatment. And your body doesn't actually know the difference. I mean, it does, but at the base, it really doesn't. What it's doing is sending all these resources and that's like, hello, danger, danger, danger. There's something happening here. And while your body has decided to manage that, in some cases, our autonomic nervous system goes into fight or flight, always. And for some women, that's a severe, and its body's really trying to send down signals to help you. So what we're able to do is by signaling both of those nerves, we actually raise your parasympathetic tone, which is your rest and relaxed tone. And so what we're able to help the body do is actually experience menstruation in a more relaxed state. To say, hey, don't panic. We got you covered. Yeah. All is good. We don't keep you from menstruating. We don't keep you from ovulating, because both of those things are very important to the overall health of a woman. It just is. It's not even about pregnancy and babies. Like, it's just for you to be healthy, you need to menstruate well. And that's just part of it, right? It has nothing to do with fertility from our end. It's just, can you be a healthy woman? So what we're able to do is by raising those parasympathetic tones, balancing your nervous system, your body just experiences all of that, all of the trauma that it's doing in that more calm state. And so we get reductions, 40+% reduction in gastric upset, 40+% reduction in cramping, a 30+% improvement in stability, right? Let's talk about just that self, right? So, then manage, right? And so then suddenly your body's feeling better and you're able to manage all these things that are happening inside of us while you're sitting in boardrooms, while you're painting, while you're being a mom, while you're just fill in the blank, right? So that's the one side of OhmBody that we really love. The other side of OhmBody is by signaling the vagus, what we're actually able to do is send signals down to the spleen at any given point holds between 20 and 25% of the platelets in your body. Platelets are the little things in your body that when you cut your finger, you don't bleed out because the platelets showed up into their job. Their job is to clot and to keep you from losing blood. And so that's no different and platelets are doing their job all the time. I can clap my hands together and now suddenly platelets are going up the inside of my body to keep me from bleeding out on the inside, right?
Sure.
So we don't really think about that. We think massive cuts, but even small things. Right. So in this case, the shedding of your uterine wall are tiny tears. And so your body is sending platelets there to clot, to keep you from bleeding out. bleeding too much out, right? So in a lot of instances, platelets get there and blood is just too much. And so what we're actually able to do is by signaling the spleen where your platelets are housed, we're actually able to prime those platelets in such a way so that when they show up to a point of entry, again, in this case, the shedding of your uterine wall, they're able to clot faster, stronger, and hold longer, which means you bleed less. So because we're not activating the clots, there's no worry about pre-clotting, throwing clots. We're not telling the platelet to clot. All we're saying is, hey, platelet, you're primed in such a way that when the body says to show up and do your job, you're going to do it really efficient. And so that's where clinically we saw that 55% reduction on average in blood loss across this women. So again, it's not keeping you, because some amount of blood is normal. You should be losing between 10 and 80 milliliters a month every cycle. That's not actually very much. That's just over a quarter of a cup of blood for your entire cycle. So I say that to women sometimes and you can see the light bulb go up in there and they're like, I think I bled that much yesterday. I'm like, yeah, you probably did. So we're not preventing you from bleeding at all. We're just helping your body clot more efficiently so you lose less blood. Because we know that the more blood you keep in your body, the healthier you are. When you go into a traumatic surgery, we want you to not be transfused. No doctor wants to transfuse you because now your body has to process that. So it's foreign to your body, sometimes rejection. There's all these things. Healthy people have more blood in their body. We want you to use much blood in your body. And so in this case, we're just keeping the uterus from losing more blood and just doing that more efficiently. So those are the two mechanisms of the science. And we could get real technical and get into it. But at the end of the day, across the cohort, whether they lost a lot of blood or had a huge blood reduction and a moderate cramping reduction or a big cramping reduction, maybe a more moderate blood reduction, what we saw was an increase in quality of life score, which is really the whole point, right? That's the only thing. We just want to feel better. And for millennia, we've been told to go find that on our own. And so we've resorted to painkillers with over-the-counter and prescription. We've resorted to hot water bottles. And listen, we're not anti-supplement, but there's a lot of supplements out there that aren't doing anything. There's some great supplements. I'm a supplement user, but there's a lot of pseudoscience and crappy snake oil and things that are because women will do anything to be 1% better. And our device is saying, let's help you be 55%, which is without drugs, without hormones, without invasive methods. And then if you get really desperate for women, we're cutting out uteruses out of 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds, or women who are 30. Yeah, my college best friend had an hysterectomy at 32. She was not ready to be done having babies, but her bleeding was so intense. Her periods were so heavy. And now that she's 41, she's incontinent. She's going through menopause. She had her testosterone levels were tested the other day and it was like a 7. You know what I mean? And she's 41. She is too young to be dealing with these. And, oh, by the way, didn't get to have the third baby she was hopeful to have. So how can we, and I'm not saying that ultimately OhmBody would have kept her from that, but she would have at least had something to manage the heavy bleeding and the painful periods that she was having in that moment. So
she would have had the choice. It's the choice. It's not, how can you even make a fair choice when you don't even know, you're not even educated on what's going on.
That's right.
It's not even, it's such an infringement of free will. To not even be able to know, that's the difference between this choice, or there's actually this option available or that option. So it's so important.
That's right.
It's so incredibly important what's happening here. And for the people that are skeptical, because there is, to your point, so much crap. So much crap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What would you say to those women? They're struggling, they're suffering.
Yep.
This has been me too. And I've tried a lot of the natural stuff, and especially when I had a higher toxic load in my body. And of course, the natural stuff has got a lot to work through. And I became extremely skeptical because I would put all this hope into something. I can't wait. And then my period and then die. I had the rug pulled out from underneath you. What would you say to people that have experienced that or that are skeptical about OhmBody? What makes it different? Or what are your kind of words of wisdom there?
Yeah. First of all, I would say we hear you and we get it. And we welcome the skepticism. We want people to tear our science apart and ask us questions. We have an incredible community over on social. Our guest emails are always with questions and we're always happy to answer those questions. I would say this. One, OhmBody comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee, no questions asked.
Wow.
So if you take it, and that should give you enough time to try it for 2 cycles for most women.
Right.
If you put it on and you're like, this isn't working, send it back and we'll give you your money back. No questions asked. Number 2, from a safety perspective, Neurostimulation has been used for us since about 2018 in a myriad of different places. The neural tourniquet, like, again, has been studied for 20 plus years, right? So we understand the safety mechanisms behind that. We're doing some research currently in our other side of the house in Sparrow around neonatal patients. So little babies born addicted to opioids or who had to have surgery within the first couple of days of their lives and had to be given fentanyl, right? So we're testing this tech on brand new babies. And if it was unsafe, we wouldn't be testing it on brand new babies. And then the hundreds of people who have tried the device or worn the device on the either on the OhmBody side or the thousands of people on the Sparrow side, we've yet to have an adverse reaction outside of maybe some skin irritation.
Yeah.
And maybe an occasional headache because their frequency or their currency was just up too high. So just try it down. And usually that subsides. But from our perspective, our safety protocols in there are so high. Our milliamps go from 0 to 4. If you use a TENS unit, like a muscular TENS unit, it starts at a right. I mean, it is way up there.
It's
so ours
crazy.
ours is so low. And to get from 0 to 4, there's like 50 little increments in between. So you will feel uncomfortable before it ever causes you pain. Just period. So just is. And like you'll be like, oh, that's a little too jolty for me. And you just turn it back down. But from a safety perspective, we just feel so very confident in what we're doing. So that side. And again, backed by years and years of research by our chief science officer and our chief technical officer, plus adding the 20-year Feinstein Institute. There's been a lot of science around what we're doing. And we have the proofs. We have the clinical research to prove it and to back it. And so skepticism is welcomed. You'll appreciate this. I was at an OBGYN conference and was telling this doctor about it. And he literally put through his head back and goes, bullshit. Literally. And I was like, yeah, I'm welcome. Let's have a conversation. And by the end of it, he was like, okay, send me one of these.
Let's go.
Yeah. So we welcome the questions because we want our science to be real. And I say this a lot. I would not have come to work for this company if the science wasn't real. Because I am a woman who has looked at crap results and crap offerings for a very long time. I'm so proud to work for a company who is science-led first, period. Just, and no one intended there, but just like science matters to us. And we have an in-house clinical team and in-house engineering team. And for a company of our size, that's really tremendous. The other side of this, and I'll throw this out, the pivotal study I mentioned that we're going to do next year, that'll be half women with heavy menstrual bleeding and the other half will be adolescents. So girls 14 to 17 with heavy menstrual bleeding, which we're really excited about. That's being funded by an organization out of the UK called Welcome Leap. Welcome Leap did a $50 million fund where they wanted research done around non-invasive, non-hormonal treatment of menstrual pain. That's essentially our definition. They awarded out of that $50 million, 13 awardees. We were one of 13 and we're the only non-research institution to receive funding. And that just speaks to the clinical efficacy of our team and every other, all the other 12 were research institutions or universities. We're the only commercial company to receive funding. That's how much they believed in the efficacy of what we were doing and the innovation that's coming to market or that is on market currently. I always like to say that don't take our word for it. Like look around at who continues to give us money, the non-dilutive capital we're getting from, or we were getting from the NIH, but the DoD, like those organizations don't just write checks. Right? They want proof and they want to see that it works and they want to believe in the tech. And so I think it's, again, not just about us, but look at companies. So if you're looking at like, should I go with this company or this company? Look at where their funding's coming from. Look at what kind of research is being done. Or are their research articles peer reviewed? Or are other people saying the same things that they're saying? Don't just take this word of like, oh, this study over here by someone else. No, did they do their own research? And if they didn't, that's probably a red flag.
I want to take this time to thank you for having the bravery to face your shit and heal yourself by listening to this show. Because this is more than just a podcast. This is a movement, and a necessary one if you've looked around at the world today. If you want to live the movement or you want to go deeper into your healing journey, I've pulled together everything I wish that I would have had. So practical tools, longevity and biohacking resources, insights, pain relief tips, healing practices, all the things most doctors won't tell you about, into one beautifully designed free ebook. Inside, you'll learn how to work with your cycle or with your body instead of fighting against it, what the mainstream gets wrong about PMS, endometriosis, and hormonal health, why pain is a messenger, not a malfunction, plus curated direct links with all of the juicy, golden episodes that started it all. Whether you're navigating chronic illness, endometriosis, burnout, or hormonal chaos, this free guide will help you start reclaiming your power, your body, and your truth. Download it instantly when you subscribe to my Substack newsletter, where I share raw stories, healing artwork, and I write a badass email. Totally. Oh, always follow the money.
Always. Follow the money and the
Always.
research. Both of those.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. And I remember trying Pulsetto for the speaking of the skepticism and just being literally shocked. Like I felt like a dog that crossed the invisible fence like one too many times. And my husband loves it. And listen, not knocking it for some people,
sure.
like hell yeah. But because we have seen, or at least I have seen, kind of like a trend a little bit of this shock vagus nerve like stimulation or like management of nervous system with this kind of technology, and then people getting shocked or not really liking, or like you had to put on so much freaking gel. So I don't know if you have one here, but I know on the website, and I can show it to you for people on YouTube, it kind of just goes around the ear. Is that
super easy.
Okay, cool.
That's super easy. These white things peel off and you stick it around your ear. We take the guesswork out of it. There's no gel. There's no like, am I hitting the right spot? It's very clear. You literally put it around your ear. There's very few ways to screw this up. True. And we have tutorial videos and diagrams on our website to make it really, the first couple of times a little awkward just because you're like moving, you clip your hair back is how I do it. I took a clip and I put my hair back, use the alcohol wipe, peel these off and you stick it. And they're pretty sticky. So, you want to get it right. But both sides, we have some diagrams that are like go, no go zones, right? Put it here, but don't put it here. But really, it's pretty foolproof. Put it on, and then you plug it into a cable that then connects to something else. Like this is smaller than a phone. It's literally like nearly sits in my palm. It's about as light as a child's toy. It's very easy. The cool thing about this, Meredith, is that we're not collecting your data. So this is not user specific. It's not a period. I don't want your data. I don't want to be a period tracker. So we're not collecting your data. All this is doing is sending the frequency that's already predetermined, the frequency pattern that's already predetermined down through the earpiece. And from this, you control how intense it feels for you. So some women on day 1 can not have it up very high. But by day 3, they're like, yeah, I feel good. I can feel a little high. I felt a little dehydrated. I've got to turn it up a little more, So there's a big thing. I can control that. And then you set how long you wear it. That's all this does.
Okay.
So if you're in a home with a mom and 3 girls who are menstruating, buy one device and some earpieces. Our earpieces are daily disposable. And the reason they are is because if you can see this, the circuits are printed directly into the earpiece, as you can see here.
Okay. Yep.
And so the hydrocolloid, so the sticky part on the back, keeps you safe and keeps those electrical pieces away from your skin directly. So it's a one-time use. So if you're using it over and over, that's going to wear out and probably be a safety issue. That's where a safety issue would happen, is if someone was using these more than once. But you can buy these. Buy them in bulk, buy them on the subscription plan. We've got several options on our website. We also have 2 stickinesses. We have the active sign. So if you live in a highly humid place, you're going to go for a walk or work out while you're doing it, lift weights or something, we recommend the active. Or we have the classic. It's a 4 to 6 hour hold. And it will, for everyday use, sit in the office, be at home, go get your kids from school, whatever it might be. You can wear that one. And so there's two different options on the website for that.
Love that. It's one thing just to talk about, another thing to actually see. Because you know what I mean? Because you're like, how does this actually work? And am I wearing a collar? Am I wearing like a bodice? Am I wearing
honestly,
there's so much strange.
Yeah, once my hair is down, if I don't care if people see it, whatever. But if you feel like it needs to be discreet, I literally just take it and then take the wire and put it underneath my shirt and then put it in the pocket. Like that discreet, and that earpieces you could see was clear outside of what the circuits you could see. And then we just wanted to make it easy. And you don't have to wear it all day. So I wear mine 2 hours every morning that I menstruate. For me, I have a 5-day period. I wear it on day 1 because in perimenopause, I have brain fog like I've never experienced in my life before. So it helps to clear my brain fog first thing in the morning. I usually wear it when I lift. I have a cup of coffee. I have some breakfast. And then after my 2 hours, I take it off, take a shower, and I go on. Day 2, I wear it because in perimenopause, again, another gift of that, so I started flooding my disc. Like a 12-hour disc, I was like flooding after 3 or 4 hours. I was like, what is happening? And I'm a girl who like didn't start till I was 17, had 2 to 3 periods a year through my 20s, and then had a pretty regulated period in my 30s. I know I'm very lucky, but then hitting perimenopause, suddenly my body was, and no more. And stop. And stop. But since wearing my own body since January, I have yet to flood out of my disc. Once.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I wear it on day 3 to help just manage that. But by day 4 and 5, I don't need my own. 1, because I'm spotting, and 2, I don't have cramps. So it's not this like, you have to wear it every day or you have to wear it this many days. We recommend 2 hours because we know that by then your platelets should be primed. And then for most women, the autonomic nervous system is balanced after 2 hours, but we recognize every woman's different. So if you're really feeling cramps that day, you may wear it for 3 or 4. It's great.
Yeah.
Or 2 hours in the morning, unplug yourself. And then by the afternoon, if the residual effects of that and your sympathetic tones back up, just plug yourself back in. And then wear a little more. So there's no, again, on our addiction side of the house, opioid side of the house, those individuals wear it for 24/7, all the way through withdrawal. And so there's no adverse reaction to wearing longer. We just know that what we love about OhmBody is that it's customizable for every woman, because we recognize that while every woman bleeds, not every woman bleeds the same.
Yeah.
And so we need treatment options that are different for every woman. It cannot be a one-size-fits-all pill anymore. It just can't be. And that's what we love about OhmBody, is that it can truly be customized to the woman at hand. And maybe one cycle is really bad and I have to wear it for 3 days. And my next cycle, I only have to wear it 1 day, 1 or 2 days. It's truly about you. Or for some women, their cramping is worse leading up to their first day of their period. So that's when their cramping is really bad. So we have team members and users who wear it 3 days prior, 1, 2, 3, and then enter themselves into their bleeding phase.
Yeah. That's what's so cool about it. You don't have to worry. You don't have to count the milligrams, or am I going to overdose or something?
Yeah.
Like, am I going to die from just trying to prevent myself from dying on my period?
Yeah. And the other beautiful thing is a lot of current treatment options require several weeks of use before you see effects, or several times. There's some on the market that are like, oh, we recommend wearing it for 3 months before you see your first real side effects or side effect withdrawal. And that's not OhmBody. And many of our users report that they feel relief after 30 minutes. And we still encourage the 2 hours because we want it to continue to work, but some as little as 10 minutes. We had a user who came back to us and said, within 10 minutes, I felt happy. And she questioned. She was like, I don't know how to explain that. And that's just that balancing of the autonomic nervous system. Because when you're balanced, when your tones are balanced, your body will feel good. And I think so many women during their period are like, oh, I forgot what it felt like to feel.
It is wild, but it's so true. You don't even realize. And when you start even attempting to go on the healing journey inside yourself, when you start to feel better, I didn't even know that I could have this much energy. I didn't even know it was an option on the menu.
That's right.
Until you experience it. And then you're like, oh shit, how did I even function with being shitty, being my normal? Because it's just part of being a woman.
That's right. And so that's part of what we're on a journey of, is educating women that what they're experiencing doesn't have to be that way. Even with my best girlfriend, they're like, oh, I mean, my period's not that bad. I cramp, but it's for a day. I'm like, but wouldn't it be nice not to cramp at all? Why are we accepting that cramping is a normal part of being a woman? And I say this a lot. If men bled from their penises, we'd already have a cure. Right? We would already, or they'd have paid leave every time they menstruated.
Holiday.
Yeah. I mean, truly. And so, but for women, we've been told for so long, this is a part of the experience. And we've convinced ourselves that we deserve less than feeling great. And I think part of our mission at OhmBody is these types of conversations of no. Look, you deserve to feel great. Even through menstruation, you deserve to feel better. So let's create pathways and innovation and continue to drive for research and innovation to help women feel better. And it's not about this, oh, woe is me and it's, again, we have how many drugs for ED immediately but you know what I mean? But the best we can do for women with endometriosis is surgery. Why is that the option? Right. And so, and again, we're not men. We love men. We have 3 male co-founders. 3 male co-founders who are advocates for women and who want to champion women and who want to walk alongside us in this. But we have to be better about normalizing what's not normal. and having
Totally.
that conversation, because then and only then, I say this a lot, you research and invest in things that matter to you and that you understand. So it's incumbent
Yeah.
upon us, which is sad, but it is incumbent upon us to continue the conversation to say, this is what matters. And we're not a niche market. Half the world's population is not niche, guys. So we got to have this conversation, be willing to come to the forefront and say, enough is enough. And how do we get better?
I think it's so cool that you guys are really uniting people through the menstrual cycle, including men. And I talk about this a lot in my work, in my Every Phase art series. This series, the main buyers of the art pieces in the series have been men, have not even been women, because everyone relates to the universal idea of pain, being a prisoner in your own body, to feeling like there's nothing that you can do, and this complete surrender that happens. That is universal. And again, the menstrual cycle and cyclical living, it's how we got here, and it's how the earth operates.
Yeah.
And I think that it's so important for men to be involved in the conversation, because
That's right.
I've heard from men when I was talking about this on the Sync Botanicals episode, like, men will come to me being like, I hate seeing her this way.
Yeah.
And she's embarrassed to talk about it. And we all are. And there's pain with sex, and there's so many different taboo things that are joyous little side effects of these imbalances, that who wants that? It's almost like the male friends and lovers or boyfriends or brothers or fathers or uncles in our lives don't want that for us, sometimes even more than us. So it's important for us to stand for each other. And I think it's so cool that you guys that we can have the period be that source of, you know what, we can do so much better than we're fucking doing.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I 100% agree with that. And I'm really fortunate that, like, I have a husband who cares. He's like, this is so cool. People are like, is it weird for her to talk about her period all the time? And he's like, oh, why would it be weird? He's like, she experiences it. Right? Like, he's like, this is very normal. This is very, very normal for him. But yeah, I think you're right in that. And like I said, it's not an us versus them. And we never want to make it that. It's how do we holistically and together create something better for all of us, right? Because then we all benefit from that.
And on that note, it's my favorite united part of the show. It is the Biohacking with Art finale question. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
She's ready. She's ready.
I'm ready. Let's go.
Let's go. Tuned in, tapped in, synced up, turned on. Here we go. If you could describe the impact and identity of OhmBody as an art piece, how would you create it, and what would it look like? What would you choose?
Yeah, so I had to tap into some help with some of my teammates, because I was like, you have to help me with this question, because I'm an Enneagram 8. I'm a type A. This is what I'm like. This is I'm less artsy for sure. But
you got it.
We really felt like, when we think about how OhmBody would show up as art and what that would look like, we were all really drawn to this idea. When you walk into a museum and you come around the corner and there's this huge 4-to-ceiling oil painting of a woman that just captivates you. You're like, I know exactly where she is. I know exactly what she's feeling. I know exactly what she's thinking. And she's got this look on her face. Every woman who walks by, I feel that. I feel that deeply. I know exactly who she is. And it's a universal experience that women only have. We feel like menstruation and OhmBody are in that space. But this, like, OhmBody's sort of this companion to a silent experience. You said this earlier, right? This silent experience that women have. And OhmBody gets to be the woman in the room that's looking at you for that painting and saying, yeah, I see you, but we're going to do this better. And this is how it's going to be. And so we just picture her as this really stoic, powerful, with a slight grin, this like glint in her eye that, like, only because we're women and we understand it, can we really appreciate that in the room. So I don't know if that's what you wanted to hear, but that's what we came up with. Felt really powerful.
Listen, there are no rules in art. There are no rules.
Yeah,
there are no rules. Yes, there's no rules in creation. Listen, it's a wild world out there. I love that. It's art as not only medicine, but as a mirror And that's what art does. It brings people together. It's the shared experience of what
Yeah.
it's like
100%.
being human, being a woman. I absolutely love that. It's so cool. And it really speaks to the fact that our body is our greatest teacher, that, healing, it's a commitment to getting to know who you are
Yeah.
yourself. And so when you explore that deeper, like that, those paintings and those modalities of expression, sometimes we can't say it. That's why we make things like this.
Yeah. That's
It
right.
transcends words. So I absolutely love that. So beautiful.
Thanks. Shout out to you for helping me get to that.
Shout out. And it has been bloody good chatting with you.
Oh my gosh, it's been a joy.
So awesome. I would love for you to tell people where they can find you. We're going to list all this in the show notes, but how can they learn more about OhmBody? Where can they connect? All of that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Connect with us on Instagram and TikTok. We're there. We're having conversations. Facebook too, but probably mostly in the IG and TikTok space. We want to be a place where women can ask questions or share their own experiences. We're doing some campaigns this next month about share your story. So hop on over there and tell us about your own experiences through periods. And what we love there is so many of our followers have given us our next course of clinical work of, wow, this is really resonating with women. Okay, what's the most important priority for OhmBody? And that's going to continue to help us drive innovation and understanding and research. So that's the first place. And then, of course, our website, ohmbody.com, is a great resource. Find our clinical work there and the more deeper explanations of how it works and why it works. You can obviously buy the products there and join them. But yeah, we're out there on the web, so please come and meet us there.
Perfect. Love that. And again, we will list all of these resources we chatted about today and more in the show notes. I hope I know everyone will be able to take away something from this painless and awesome conversation today to help them go out, face their shit, therefore healing themselves. And remember, as always, the truth will set you free. We will see you all next time. Bye. If you liked this episode, or if you think this show would be useful for someone else, the best way you can show your support is to share it on your social media outlets with family and friends, or leave a review on podchaser.com, comment on YouTube or Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for listening and for having the bravery to face your shit and heal yourself.